What is going on, everybody? The makeshift setup is officially dropped here at Blitz Sports Media. We're in the car coming back from a wedding, but that's not going to stop us from answering all of your fantasy football questions here ahead of week two. If any of the audio sounds funky, I apologize, but I'm here to make it work as possible. I brought in Steven and Danny here who are going to be able to help me try to get this thing going today. And if the Wi-Fi is bad too, just let me know. Steven, I'm going to hand it off to you. It's officially week two. What are you looking forward to this week?
I mean, it's just another week of football. This one, a little bit more rested going into watch this week than last week. Had to take the 4 o'clock nap. Can't do that today as huge game, Super Bowl rematch at 4 o'clock. That's what I'm most excited for. But some great games in the 1 o'clock slate. So I'm looking forward just to another week of great football.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's going to be an absolute heavyweight battle at 325. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be a fun time. So definitely looking forward to that for sure. But fantasy football day, Danny, let's talk about some of your favorite starts of this week.
Uh, we'll start at quarterback. I mean, Josh Allen's obvious play. The Jets defense gave up 25 points to an old Aaron Rodgers last week. So I can't see why he can't do what he did last week against the Ravens. I know he's always struggled against them a little bit when they've played in New York. So, but the performance he did last week, coming back from what he did, just proved that he's Superman. Then other quarterbacks, they always wins. Jalen Hurts. That game with Mahomes probably should be a must start today too, because that game should just be a back and forth game. I mean, the total is about 46.5, unless it's moved already, and there should be plenty of offense in that game and plenty of fireworks for us to watch in the late game tonight.
100 should be great action. Let's get to a few people that already have questions for us here. Dean is first on the clock. Dean, we missed you. All the chat you as well here on stream. Dylan Sampson, Jordan Mason, or RJ Harvey. This is all these interesting one for me. My wife.
Tough to hear you.
You're a bad spot, brother.
Tough to hear you there. I'm gonna say what I would do here. One of my favorite starts of the week is Dylan Sampson. After his debut, what he did last week, I mean, he had 20 touches, he had 12 carries, 8 receptions, and now he's going against Baltimore, where I think game script will heavily influence Sampson's production. I could easily see him getting another 8-catch game because I feel like the Ravens are just going to get out ahead of the Browns in this one. And it's just going to be dump off after dump off to Dylan Sampson. So I absolutely love Dylan Sampson this week. I'm firing up anywhere I have him.
I agree with you on that. With Sampson, he's going to get the chances of
Danny,
getting the dump offs. Yep. And with Mason and Harvey, they're both still splitting yet, so there's not really a true how much touches they're going to get during the game and stuff. So that's one of the things we're worried about with both of them of putting up big numbers for us to have a great fantasy week. But Sampson's one of those guys, he could have a 10, 15-point week like it's nothing.
Absolutely. We'll hop into another question here. We got, how do I do that? Sheesh is asking on Twitter, Danny, who would you start, Evan Ingram or Kyle Pitts at your tight end spot this week?
Man, that's a tough one right there. That's almost a coin flip. I mean, Evan kind of got nicked up a little bit last week. He came in questionable, but he actually got cleared on Friday. Pitts actually played well. I mean, they looked at him at times when Penix Jr. was scrambling. Pitts was finding spots in the defense and was producing last week. And we haven't seen that really in the last 3 years he's been in the league. I mean, he showed some flashes here and there, but it seemed like he was more in the flow of the offense instead of actually being a person playing a position.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go with Evan Ingram here. I think it's close. Kyle Pitts definitely had a encouraging game week one for all the Kyle Pitts truthers. But Evan Ingram, like you said, he got banged up, missed a practice early in the week, but he was a full participant and he should be good to go today. But Evan Ingram in last game, he only played 34% of the snaps before he got taken out. And in those 34%, he had 4 targets. So I feel like if you put that over a full game span, he's looking at a double-digit fantasy day if he gets a full range of plays. So I'm definitely firing up Evan Ingram. He was one of my must-draft tight ends going into the season, so not overreacting yet. Good question, though. And then we'll hop to the next one. We got on YouTube, TS is saying, Tet McMillan or DJ? We'll start with Tet McMillan or DJ Moore. I'm going with DJ Moore. He's one of my starts of the week at wide receiver. If you look at his stats last season against Detroit, he scored in both times he went up against Detroit. So I'm looking for that to continue this season or this year and this week. So I'm going DJ Moore. Danny, who would you go? DJ Moore?
I'm going DJ Moore as well. I mean, I like Tet, but DJ Moore loves playing against the Lions. He's played against them 4 times now. I think he scored in 3 of those 4 games. So
exactly,
it's a matchup that he plays well against, or there's something in the schemes that they haven't been able to figure out how to slow him down on the defensive side.
Yeah, absolutely. Ryan, are you good now?
Dude, I think I just drove into a town of a population of 5 people, and I walked out with no reception. But we are absolutely back. As far as these questions go, Justin Fields for sure is a lineup lock for me. He's my QB6 on the week, right behind the big 5. Fields is an absolute dog with no Ed Oliver in Buffalo, going to be a monster. Tet or DJ Moore? I'm slightly leaning Tet here. I'm a big DJ Moore truther this season, but I'm a little concerned about Caleb Williams' consistency right now in terms of a passing attack. I know that Tet McMillan had a monster target share in week 1, over 30% of Carolina's targets, so I'm going to ride with a higher target share this week. We'll take it out to our boy DG here. Steven, we'll start with you just in case my Wi-Fi goes out. Why don't you go ahead and read this?
Yeah, so DJ, our boy, he says a flex question. It's a full point PPR. He has 2 slots, so start 2 of these 3 guys. So Cedric Tillman, Jalen Waddle, and Wan'Dale Robinson. Danny, who would if you had to start 2 of those guys in a full point PPR, who are you going with?
I'm probably going with Tillman and Robinson. I mean, the Miami offense has been sluggish last week, so we don't know what they really expect. I mean, how much is Waddle really getting kind of factored out of the offense on that part of it? I mean, but it could be one of those games where they just show up, throw for 400 yards, and they both Waddle and Hill has a huge day. But right now, I'd probably go with Tillman and Robinson. They're just getting the targets right now. I mean, Tillman last week scored a touchdown for him. Robinson was getting the targets from Russell Wilson. So I think I'd lean those 2 right now. But Jalen Waddle's just one of those guys you just don't know what they're going to do yet. That's the thing about the first few weeks of the season. It's kind of a wait and see on guys. So when Waddle's one of those guys.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Waddle got banged up a little bit last week, so he came out for a little bit. But I'm still not gonna overreact. You drafted Jalen Waddle as a starter. You didn't draft Cedric Tillman as a starter or Wan'Dale Robinson as a starter. Yes, they both got 8 targets each. Jalen Waddle only had 5, but like I said, he came out for a chunk of drives. So I'm going to not overreact. I'm going to go start Jalen Waddle and, give me Cedric Tillman. Him and Wan'Dale, they're both going to get the targets. I just think Cedric Tillman will get more valuable targets. Wan'Dale Robinson last year, his average depth of target was insane. I think it was maybe 2 yards. It was ridiculous.
That's a very deep.
He's a running back playing.
That's a PPR merchant for us right there.
Yep,
it is a PPR merchant, but Tillman, he'll get more valuable targets, and I'm not going to overreact. And I think Miami has a bounce back week.
I'll say this though, like the guy, I don't know what sometimes StreamYard gets really weird with emojis or like something. He might be mentioning Dylan Sampson as a potential start too. I think out of that grouping, Sampson, you've got to have him in your lineup for sure, and then it gets a little bit murky. I've been telling people the entire week, Jalen Waddle, avoid him like the plague, but compared to Tillman and Wan'Dale Robinson, I don't know if I could. Honestly, if I were to pick one over Waddle, it would be Wan'Dale because I think his floor is safer with the PPR volume. Tillman's more of like a hit or miss type play. I think you have to go Waddle, Sampson if these are the guys that you're choosing between. Let's get to Matt here. Shakir, Tillman, or Waddle, PPR pick one. We already talked about 2 of them, but I think we're going with the other guy here in terms of my mind. Shakira, get in my lineup. I love those PPR targets, and I want to get – here's the thing, though, that Buffalo threw the ball 40-plus times, which is incredibly rare for them, and that's why Keon Coleman had such a big game. Khalil Shakir was clearly the early guy in the first half of this game where he scripted those slot targets. I don't know about you guys, but it's got to be Shakira for me.
Yeah, absolutely. You nailed it perfectly. Shakir's the guy. He's just, like you said, he's got the safe floor that a PPR guy has over a guy like Waddle and Tillman, who are more boom or bust right now. So the safe pick is obviously Shakir, but if you have to, sometimes on a Thursday night, if someone goes nuclear, you got to, go with the upside. So depending on what the score is, I'd still go Shakir right now, but maybe you swing for upside with Waddle.
I'll say this though. I think the Bills' offense has more upside in the passing game than we think this week. Ed Oliver being out and the way that defense played against Lamar and Derrick Henry last week, don't be surprised if the Jets put up a 28 spot today.
No, got to score points again. Yep.
They 100% will. Matt actually has some other questions. Herbert or Caleb? I'm going to go with Herbert here. He is my quarterback 7 this week. But Danny, why don't you talk about which guy you would like?
I'm a Herbert guy too this week. What he did last week against the Chiefs was very impressive. I mean, they were pushing the ball down the field. He was looking for his big targets. It wasn't dump offs for him, so that's one thing he did when with the running backs last year and the year before and stuff. But it's nice to be able to see him push the ball down the field. I mean, that's one thing he's came in the league. He has a big arm, so use the big arm. Quentin Johnson played well. Keenan Allen seemed like he didn't miss a beat when that offense. And you still got Ladd McConkey. I mean, going in this game this week where exactly. He may struggle against the Raiders. I mean, he played bad last year in both games of the Raiders, so maybe he comes out and proves people wrong this week with McConkey. But still, you still have Allen, you still have Quentin Johnson. Conklin's a decent tight end. So I think they should be able to push the ball against the Raiders, no problem this week.
Yeah, it should be a good one. And then Matt has his third question here. Steven, we'll take this off to you. Hollywood Brown, DJ Moore, Ricky Pearsall, Marvin Harrison Jr., pick 3. What are you going with here, Steven?
So I'm definitely, like I said earlier, I'm firing up DJ Moore anywhere I have him against the Lions. I'm probably going to sit Pearsall of those of the 4. I'm going to sit Pearsall because the quarterback situation worries me. Brock Purdy is out for a couple of weeks. I know they're playing the Saints. And the Saints, I want to fire anybody up against the Saints, but I'm going to sit Pearsall because of the quarterback worries. I think Hollywood's going to get fed targets with Worthy out again. And Marvin Harrison, I just believe in the upside, and I still think he's going to have a breakout season. So those are the 3 that I'm going to fire up.
I think it's interesting that this is a good grouping. Like, I think you really can't go wrong based on, like, all 4 of these guys and, like, all their matchups, how it is. I don't think, and this is more of just like me talking, you shouldn't be scared of Ricky Pearsall this week with Mac Jones at quarterback and his matchup. The Saints allowed the 9th most perimeter receiver points last week alone. Mac Jones held up Brian Thomas Jr. to a wide receiver 4 finish towards the end of last season. Like, I think even with Kyle Shanahan, they're going to try to stop the run with McCaffrey. Ricky Pearsall with no other healthy weapons. Like, you can't be afraid of him. I have him, for example, and Travis Hunter in the same league, and I'm like, should I go with Hunter? He's going to be the slot guy. I have him as a must start as well. But like Ricky Pearsall's upside this week, if Brock Purdy was a quarterback, we'd be talking about him potentially within the top 18 receivers. So I don't think I'm going to shy away from him. I think I'm going to trust in the fact that there's nobody else healthy in this 49ers passing game, and Mac Jones is not like a scrub going out there, and it's not like the situation we saw with the Dolphins last season and their pass catchers be completely unusable with the backup quarterback. So I think it's a thing where you shouldn't be afraid of using Ricky Pearsall, and obviously it depends on your situation. Obviously for you, Matt, you have the luxury of 4 great options this week. Obviously Hollywood Brown has an incredibly tough matchup against Philly, but same thing. He has no other target competition in the Chiefs offense outside of Travis Kelce. So interesting one there. We're going to take it up to Chris Cross here. Morning got offered Puka, Ladd, and Pacheco for my CMC and BTJ. It's a 12-team PPR, 3 wide receiver, 2 running back, 1 flex. I have Nico and Egabuka. Danny, we're going to take this out to you. What do you think?
I would say no. Just all you can't. You're getting 2 great receivers, but the thing is, you're giving up CMC. It's hard to give up a top 5 running back when you already have Nico and Ibuka as your wide receivers on that part. I don't see how that helps you. Pacheco, he got the most touches last week, but what are we going to see from them? It didn't look good. It didn't. So I'm not sure what they would do on that part. I mean, I love Puka, love Ladd, but it's hard to give up CMC and BTJ on that part. I'd say I stick with CMC and the BTJ side.
Yeah, Steven, how about you?
Yeah, I'm siding with Danny on this one. Like we were talking all off season, CMC is one of the guys that I own everywhere, and I'm not ready to ship him off just yet. So I'm definitely keeping CMC and Brian Thomas Jr. in this. Like you said, Puka, fantastic. Ladd, fantastic. Pacheco, still have hope for him, but it was not a promising week one. And if you have Nico and Egbuka already, you're fine. If you did the trade,
Yeah.
you'd be your 3 wide receivers would be set, and your flex would be set every week. So you're kind of limiting yourself there.
I think like the running back value of CMC, I think outweighs the potential of a BTJ like Puka and Ladd. Like I think that part of the trade's good, and then like getting Pacheco, obviously a starter, but doesn't have the upside that he has with CMC. Let's get to Juan Pena here, who's my wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2 flex spot. He has Devontae Adams, Hollywood Brown, Calvin Austin, Quentin Johnson, Keyshawn Boutte, Travion Henderson, Nick Chubb, or Zach Charbonnet. For as far as his wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2 go, I absolutely love the combination of Adams and Hollywood Brown there for you. And then in your flex, Travion Henderson. I have him as a must-start this week. The Miami Dolphins defense allowed 150 yards to the Colts last week between DJ Giddens and Jonathan Taylor. I did a film breakdown on them. Their defense is in a really bad spot, especially on that interior part of that defensive line. Travion Henderson might not need 10 to 15 touches to have a nice day in fantasy. We saw him even last week. 5 carries, 27 yards, was efficient, had 6 catches out of the backfield. His time is coming. It is a matter of time before Trey Henderson is one of the top playmakers in the NFL, and this could very well be his breakout week against the Miami Dolphins, and he's a guy I can't afford to leave on my bench. This is a more hard question. Harold Fannin Jr. or Juwan Johnson? I have my answer, but I want to hear from you, Danny and Steven. Who do you think should be starting out of this grouping right here?
I'm going to go with my guy. I love Harold Fannin Jr. I loved him coming out of college. He was a stud at Bowling Green. His production was off the charts by an insane amount. And, you know, what I said when he got drafted and everyone was like, oh, the David Njoku's there. They don't draft Harold Fannin to use him as a blocker. They drafted him because they see what they can do with him. And I'm surprised it got shown in week 1. If they have that much trust in him to play just under 80% of the snaps and then line up in the slot, line up at fullback, line up at an inline blocker. He was lining up all over the field. So if they have that confidence in him in his debut, I expect that to 100% continue. And I love Harold Fannin the rest of the season.
Danny, how about you?
It's a toss-up for me. I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with either player this week. Fanning produced last week when the amount of time he was on the field and the route. I mean, his route usage as well. The one, I mean, they have talent at receivers and stuff, but it seemed like that Rattler liked hitting the tight end. I mean, they didn't throw the ball a whole lot to Kamara last week, unless that changes this week. Johnson may be that guy that's the underneath guy for them. So I think either guy, you're fine. Probably small lean to Fanning.
Yeah, I think with it, here's the thing with Harold Fannin is he played only 30% of the 11 personnel snaps. It's still David Njoku as a tight end 1, technically speaking. But obviously they ran a ton of 12 personnel last week, and he saw a 31% target share per route run, which is insane, right? That's very, very good for tight ends. So very encouraging there. For me, it's more of like, all right, let me see it one more week. I think with Juwan Johnson, the last 4 games with Spencer Rattler, he's had at least 7 targets. So I'm kind of starting to follow this Juwan Johnson train of a late breakout potentially happening for him in PPR formats. It's a tough matchup against the 49ers, but I think we all know that the New Orleans Saints offense is going to have to pull some stuff out if they're going to win some of these games. So I expect Juwan Johnson to be in for a decent day, especially considering the fact they're outside perimeter players in that offense. Like, tough matchups for them as well. Steven, you're going to have to take over for the comments real quick. The Wi-Fi is going in and out at the second, so why don't you pop in for me on that end?
Absolutely. We'll go with the next one on YouTube from Jay Money. He's asking Dak with healthy wide receivers against the Giants or Mahomes with no wide receivers against the Eagles. 4 points, 4-point PPR.
Mm.
Who are you guys starting at quarterback for you guys?
Danny,
Dak?
you could start.
Yeah, I'm probably leaning Dak. I mean, he's had good success against the Giants in the past. I mean, we didn't really get to see how much they used their receivers last week. It was mainly just CD Lamb type day, and they didn't really use Ferguson a whole lot. So, and against the Giants, they may be able to exploit that. With Mahomes, I mean, Mahomes is Mahomes. I don't know if he really needs that wide receiver one to be able to play well, but Hollywood played well last week for him, and Kelsey actually looked better than he did about at the beginning of last season. So going into this week, Mahomes would be fine, but I would probably lean with Dak. Just the fact that their guys are a little more healthier. They're going against the Giants. They know their schemes a little bit, and they may have to pass the ball last week. I know it's kind of fluky that Javonte got a couple of touchdowns because they got down to the one, and he just did some dives and scored a touchdown. So I could see the passing offense get a little more exposure this week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think, yeah. What I was going to say, though, Stephen, was I think it's interesting in the fact that, like, I have both these guys, QB 11, QB 12 in my rankings this week. Mahomes, I absolutely loved what I saw week one and his potential long-term outlook. But it's also like everything's stacked against him to succeed this week. Unless he has a crazy day with his legs, it's going to be hard for him to produce. So I think Dak's a little bit safe.
Yeah, I agree. I think Dak is a safer play against New York. A little bit of a weaker defense, but I don't mind. I think the Giants have actually a sleeper good defense. And then Mahomes, I think he's just going to get a ton of volume against the Eagles today. I don't think the Chiefs are, have their solution in the running game. We kind of saw that all year last year after Pacheco got hurt. Kind of the same thing in week one. Maybe they try and establish the run, but it's hard to run against this Eagles front. So I think Mahomes could have, 35, 40 attempts this week, which would be huge. I think a volume play, I'm taking Mahomes in this one. Maybe he's got a chip on his shoulder, Super Bowl rematch at home. I'm taking Mahomes. We'll go on to the next one here on Twitter.
Hey, I'll say this, though, real quick.
Yeah?
Real quick. Shout out to the people that are new, checking out Blitz Sports Media today. Love how you guys go into the detail, the subscriptions. Appreciate all of you guys. This is what we want to do. We want to provide the most personalized fantasy advice for you guys, whether you need it or not. We're just there to help, and that's why we're here doing this.
Oh yeah, we love seeing those. We'll go to the next one here from Ryan on Twitter. Which three should I start in PPR? Marvin Harrison against Carolina, Tyreek against New England, Zay Flowers against Cleveland, Breece Hall against Buffalo. He's got Kyler at quarterback. So, Danny, what are you thinking? He can start three of these guys.
I'm going with Marvin Harrison, Tariq, and Breece Hall this week. Flowers had a huge week last week. I mean, they're a double-digit favorite this week. They may not have to pass the ball that much against Cleveland in order to win that game. So I don't see Zay putting up the numbers he did last week. Marvin Harrison Jr. that had a great week last week was targeted in the offense. Tariq Hill, even for what he did last week with the amount of offense they had last week, he was still a prominent figure in it. And Breece Hall, I mean, he's still splitting some carries with Braylon Allen and Allen and Justin Fields vultured 3 of the touchdowns. So he should have a chance if they can get inside the red zone of being able to score a touchdown this week, I would hope.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you hit it perfectly. I would hear out of these guys, I would sit Zay Flowers, mainly because I'm scared of the game script. I mean, we know Zay Flowers can just disappear from these games when the Ravens get up big by just running the ball 40 times with Derrick Henry and then Lamar Jackson as well coming in to, move the chain. So I could easily see the Ravens getting ahead of this one early, and they're just running the clock. I could see Zay Flowers maybe getting like 3-4 targets, so I'm definitely firing everyone else up, more so just not big on Zay Flowers this week. We'll jump to the next one on Twitch from Jeannie. Michael Penix or Patrick Mahomes at quarterback. And then they also said that they have London and playing against Hollywood. So I think that's the answer right there. I think if you're playing against Hollywood and you have Drake London and you're wondering if you should start Penix or Mahomes, you got to fire up Penix here. I mean, if Mahomes throws touchdowns to, if he keeps throwing the ball to Hollywood Brown, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot there.
Yes.
So I'm firing up Penix, and especially London, that stack on, what is that, the Monday night game? Or is that
one of the Monday nights?
Yeah, Monday night.
It's Sunday night game. Yeah.
Sunday night. I knew it was a
Sunday
night
night
game. So yeah, I'm firing up Penix and London in that situation.
Yeah, I think I'd have to
fire
do
up
that
Michael Penix like over Patrick Mahomes.
Well, the thing is,
come on,
He's not.
well, if it's a 4-point touchdown passing, that
you can't be scared of the Hollywood matchup though. Like, in terms of like the biggest thing that I look at, obviously stacks are nice, and obviously going up against a guy that your quarterback's throwing the ball to is mental warfare. But I mean, like in a rankings wise, like Mahomes is 10 players higher than Penix, at least in my mind right now for this week. So it's like, I understand the dilemma of not wanting to have him throw the ball to Hollywood Brown, but you want him to do good. But at some point, you just got to put your foot down and say, my guy's going to have a good day. Hey, your guy might have an okay day, but, I don't know. It really is a tough dilemma. And if Mahomes had like a better matchup, I think it'd be a lot more clear. But I see two sides of it. In fantasy football, it's mental warfare sometimes.
Don't sleep on Penix. I mean, 42.
I'm not sleeping.
Just under 300 yards. Don't sleeping on Penix a little bit this week.
It's an interesting one. Danny, where were you going to go with for him?
I'd go with Penix. I like stacks in fantasy football. I mean, that's one of those things where if it's a 4-point throwing touchdown pass league, that may balance out. If he throws 2 touchdowns to Hollywood Brown, you're down 4 points right there. I would lean Penix. I mean, it's a dome game. It's inside. Don't have to worry about any weather. I mean, the weather's supposed to be nice in Kansas City today, but I'd probably lean Penix right here.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll go to the next one here from Steven. Great name. Great way to spell it also. PPR, Waddle, or I'm assuming that's Kenneth Walker, Ingram, Pitts, or Fannin at tight end. And then at quarterback, Dak, T-Law, Stafford, or Penix. So we'll start with the flex spot. Jalen Waddle or Kenneth Walker this week. Ryan, what are you thinking?
Kenneth Walker. I mean, listen, I talked about this like 10, 15 minutes ago, but I am avoiding Jalen Waddle in any situation I can. And everybody's going to probably say the same thing with Kenneth Walker, but the one stat that I found interesting, and, Kenneth Walker's been battling a foot injury throughout camp, slowly getting more implemented. When the game was a one-score game in the fourth quarter, Kenneth Walker significantly outsnapped Zach Charbonnet, significantly had more touches, and that's what matters to me. It's still Kenneth Walker's offense. It's a matter of fact that he's battling back from injury. He had to get more of a workload involved. Kenneth Walker, there's no reason to panic after 1 week with him. I am putting him in my starting lineups. He's an RB2, low-end RB2 for me this week. Tough matchup against the Steelers, but Kenneth Walker, we got to pump the brakes just a little bit with him. As far as the tight end position goes, Kyle Pitts, I'm starting him with confidence this week. Looks like he has a solid target share in this offense. Drake London's banged up right now. We'll see what happens with him. But as far as the quarterbacks go, Dak Prescott, we talked about him a little bit ago. I think against the Giants, he played well against a good Philly defense. Let's trust Dak in our starting lineups. Let's not freak out with an 8-point performance last week. Should be a nice bounce back week for him. Overall, Steven, should be a nice bounce back week for your team in general with some of these guys it seems like you're deciding between.
Yeah, absolutely. Kenneth Walker or Waddle, you bring up some great points. I'd probably go Walker. I think, like you said, he's going to get more of the workload. He outsnapped Charbonnet when it came down to the fourth quarter and crunch time. Tight ends, I'm still going to fire up Evan Ingram on a full workload this year. I'm expecting double-digit points. I don't hate Kyle Pitts or Fannin, though. You can't go wrong with any of those tight ends in my eyes. And then quarterbacks, I like Dak this week. He's one of my starts of the week. Also, one of my other starts of the week is Trevor Lawrence against Cincinnati, in that I think that's just going to be a bloodbath and just points on points on points. So I feel like you can't go wrong with Dak or T-Law in this situation. Danny, what do you think?
I'm going to go with Ryan. I'm going with Walker, Pitts, and Dak on this one. It's tough with Waddle because you just don't know the situation there. His tight ends, that's a great group to pick from. I go Pitts just because of the target share he had right now. And then that Indianapolis-Denver game could be a low-scoring game. And I go with Dak. It's just they're playing against the Giants. Dak looked like Dak from 2 years ago when he was an MVP running at the end of the season and stuff. So I'd go with Dak.
Yeah. All right, we got another question here from Jack Boolin on Twitch. Garrett Wilson or Omarion Hampton at flex for full?
This is a good problem to have.
This is a great problem.
Listen, I'll say this.
Garrett Wilson. I'm firing up Garrett Wilson.
Yeah. Listen, you got to start the guy that had a 40% target share in week 1. You got to, especially when you look at the spread of the Jets and the Bills game and what the Bills defense did last week against Zay Flowers. Garrett Wilson is a wide receiver 1 in fantasy football right now. He really is. Like, there's some uncertainty at the back end of that wide receiver 1 group. With Garrett Wilson's target share in this Jets offense, what is preventing him from actually taking that leap we thought he was going to take last year? There's nothing. He has no target competition. He looked great in a tough matchup against the Steelers last week. I absolutely love Garrett Wilson, and this is no knock against Omarion Hampton. Has a great matchup this week as well, but Garrett Wilson's the answer.
Yeah,
my DFS spreadsheet loves this game. I mean, it's got Allen as probably a must play. It's got Breece Hall as a must play. It's got Garrett Wilson as a must play. It's even gotten Dalton Kincaid, which kind of surprised me as a must play. But I'm stacking that game with all those guys in DFS. But I'd start Wilson over Hampton in regular fantasy as well.
Yeah, that's a great problem to have. So good luck to you this week, Jack. We'll go on to the next one. Jacob here on YouTube. Full PPR flex position. Another good problem to have here. I'm assuming you can start one. Cortland Sutton, Alvin Kamara, Jacoby Myers, or Jerry Jeudy. Another great problem to have if you can only start one of those guys. What are you thinking there?
Oh, man. I'm going with Cortland Sutton. The Colts secondary is down a ton of guys right now. They're missing a lot of people, and we've seen Bo Nix absolutely throw to Cortland Sutton at an even higher rate than he did last season. I'm going with Cortland Sutton. This is a great group of guys. I mean, Jacoby Myers, we all know my love affair with him, but love myself some Cortland Sutton this week against a banged-up Colts secondary. Should be a nice bounce-back game for the Broncos offense that looked abysmal last week. So, Cortland Sutton, lock him in your lineup this week. What a great player.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I have to agree with you, Ryan, here to make it easier on Jacob. I think Sutton's a great start this week. I mean, the Broncos offense didn't look bad, or didn't look good by any stretch of the means, and Sutton still had 9 targets and 18 fantasy points. So once they start clicking, I think that's more to come for Sutton this season. Danny, what do you think?
I'd have to agree with Sutton as well. I mean, I love Kamara and I love Myers just because of the fact that the Chargers gave it so many big plays last week, and then Geno could have a big day with Myers and that whole receiving group right there. But I'd probably have to still go with Sutton. Just what he did last week with their offense playing as bad as it did, he still put up 18 points and saw the targets. Yeah,
absolutely. We'll jump back into another one here for Steven again. Looking for some waiver wire help. Some potential droppables. Denver and Pittsburgh. Defense, Ingram and Pitts. Jaden Blue, Cup. Drop for Fannin or Keyshawn Butte. Depth at quarterback, he has Dak. But Penix, Lawrence, and Stafford are available. So we'll start with, I guess he wants to pick up Fannin or who would you pick up if you could only pick up one of those guys? I know it depends on your team, but Harold Fannin or Keyshawn Butte?
I'd Fannin. I mean, it's the tight end positions. It's just valuable in that part. Booty's probably maybe the number one guy in New England stuff, but still Fannin on that part. Just the fact the targets he saw last week and the workload he have.
Yeah, I think out of this group, Keyshawn Butte is such an interesting player for me. I'm getting rid of Jaden Blue and Cooper Kupp are two guys I mentioned to get rid of. Defenses, I typically don't have more than one rostered as well. So if you have multiple rostered, I'd recommend kind of getting rid of one of those. But Keyshawn Butte is a player I love long-term. I mean, his last 4 games with Drake May at quarterback, he's only behind Jamar Chase in receiving yards, which is absolutely insane to think about. He's kind of started to break out towards the end of last year. So week 1 might not just be a fluke. He might just be that guy for them. And I think you got to find a way to get him and Fannin on your roster, whether that's dropping one of those 2 defenses, dropping Jaden Blue, who's injured right now, still probably stuck in that RB3 role in Dallas, or Cooper Kupp, who only had a 9% separation rate in week one, if I could talk right. But as far as depth at quarterback, I think you kind of hold at that quarterback position. I think Dak's the guy you got to hold on to at that point.
Yeah, I agree. I think Dak, rest of season, is the guy over guys like Penix, Lawrence, and Stafford pretty easily for me. We'll jump on to the next one here on YouTube. Which 2 of 5 should I start? Jacoby Myers, Ted McMillan, Hollywood Brown, DJ Moore, and Javonte Williams. Another great problem to have here.
Yeah.
You're sitting 3 of these guys. Ryan, which 2 of these did you fire up?
I'm firing up Jacoby Myers and Ted McMillan. I mean, both guys that had massive target shares in week one. I love Hollywood Brown and, what he can do, and DJ Moore and Javonte, all like good options this week. But, I mean, Jacoby Myers and Ted McMillan are the guys that would stand out to me. I know the Chargers secondary is a tougher matchup, but Jacoby Myers, even if Brock Bowers is out, he's going to see 10 targets this week. Ted McMillan against the Cardinals, tough matchup, but their wide receiver one had a significant target share in week one. Targets are everything in fantasy football. Both those guys have better target shares, I think, this week than Hollywood Brown and DJ Moore. And then Javonte Williams, I'm still not completely sold on him, more higher than an RB2. So I'm going with Jacoby and Ted.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So I'm firing up DJ Moore. Like I said, he's one of my favorite plays of the week. I think he scores again this week, like he scored in both games against the Lions last year. And then the other person I'm firing up Javonte Williams. I'm all in on Javonte after that week one performance, especially against a Giants defense where I genuinely think the Cowboys are a solid squad this year and will, I think they're going to beat up on the Giants today. So I think game script really helps Javonte here. I would not be surprised if he gets another 2 touchdown performance this week. Danny, what are you thinking here?
I think start any of them's fine. You're in that situation where it's potential wise. It's what you think, what you are projecting them to score. It's based on that part. I mean, you can live with what your sites have for their projected scores and stuff like that. But it's whatever you feel is the best on that part. Any 5 of them, any of the 2 is a great start. I mean, Jacoby Myers, like we talked about earlier, just the targets are going to get, and same thing with Ted. Hollywood, I mean, he got the targets last year. Does that happen again this week against a good Philly defense? Love DJ Moore because his history against the Lions so far, and Javonte, if they do get ahead in that game and have a 2 touchdown lead, he could probably get a lot of work. And Jaden Blue was a healthy and active last week. They may happen again this week. So maybe just him and Miles Sanders back in the backfield again.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll jump on to the next one here from Pug to Savage. Brenton Strange or Tyler Warren? I think this one's pretty easy. I think we're all going with Tyler Warren after a fantastic debut. 9 targets, 7 catches, 76 yards. He looked dominant out there. I think unanimously we're all going Tyler Warren here.
Yeah, he's a lineup lock for the rest of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to you, Ryan. We appreciate that. We'll jump on to another one here from Mark. Tyrone Tracy or Jordan Mason in full PPR. We'll let you take this one away, Ryan. I know this involves one of your guys.
Oh, man, this one's really tough. Both these guys do not have good matchups this week. Tyrone Tracy saw significant volume in week one. Didn't really cash in on that volume, but the volume was there for him. Jordan Mason, on the other hand, proved that he's going to be an absolute dog this year. My only concern with Mason this week is the Falcons ranked top 10 in stuff rate in week one. Their run defense has been pretty tough in terms of rushing efficiency, so I have my concerns there. If I had to pick one guy this week that I'm riding with, I'm going to take the guy in the better offense, Jordan Mason. These guys are basically right around each other right now. Don't love either of their matchups, but I'm going to take the guy in the better offense. I think the Falcons will obviously be focused on trying to slow down Justin Jefferson and company in that one. And I think Jordan Mason could sneak himself in the end zone. Tyrone Tracy, the Giants aren't favorites in the game, could have a negative game script. I'm going to go with Jordan Mason. I think he's just a little bit higher than I have Tyrone Tracy this week.
Danny, what would you do in this situation?
Jordan Mason as well. The chances of him scoring a touchdown compared to Tracy may be the difference of who you start, so I'd go with Mason.
Yeah, I'm going to play devil's advocate here. I'm going to go with Tyrone Tracy. I think Ryan hit on it well. Not a fan of either matchups this week. Tyrone Tracy, I guess he does get the worst of the defenses here. So the Cowboys defense did not look great in week 1, especially the linebacking core. It looks a little bit slow, almost like they could use a guy like Micah Parsons. But, Tyrone Tracy, he's a wide receiver turned running back, so he's going to get the targets. He had 5 targets in week 1 last year. And in this situation, I'm just going to, hope he gets some dump downs here. And not a big fan of either, but I'd fire up Tyrone Tracy here. Plug also says he likes the Jags to win today. What do you guys think on that?
That's sneaky. It's sneaky. Not a lot of people are saying the Jags have a good chance today against the Bengals. I'm here to tell you right now, I kind of like the Jags this week. The Bengals still a slow starting team, I guess, in the first few games, despite them all being healthy and playing in the preseason. I think the Jags do have a decent chance of pulling this off today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're 3.5-point dogs. I would take the points. One thing, I mean, the over in that game is 49.5, so it's going to be a shooting. It's going to be a shooting.
Yep. And NFL standards, it's usually 3 points for a home field advantage. So basically, it's a pick 'em game if it was on a neutral field. So, yeah, the Jags have a chance to win today.
Yeah, I believe it. We'll jump into the next one here from Alex on YouTube. Half PPR, start which 3 of Pearsall, Tracy, Jaylen Warren, Calvin Ridley, and Kenneth Walker. Me personally, I'm sitting Tyrone Tracy. We kind of just talked about we aren't fans of his matchup this week. I'm just going to sit Tracy in this scenario. And who else, Matt? Do you have to sit one more person?
Yeah.
I'm going to sit Jaylen Warren and Tyrone Tracy in that scenario. I'm going to fire up Ridley and Pearsall and Kenneth Walker in that scenario. What are you guys thinking?
Yeah, I'm riding with that squad as well. I think in terms of that, I like Pearsall's matchup this week. I think he'll be fine with Mac Jones at quarterback. Calvin Ridley, I think he's in for a bounce-back week. I know Cam Ward was not necessarily – I mean, the Broncos held the Titans receivers to 48 receiving yards. That's not going to happen. Calvin Ridley still at a close to 30% target share for them. And then Kenneth Walker should be a nice bounce-back week for him as well. So I'm benching Tracy and Jaylen Warren.
Yeah, I agree. Those 3 right there probably have the highest upside of those 5. So I'd probably go with Pearsall, Ridley, and Walker.
Yeah, absolutely. We appreciate you, Jack. Keep the comments coming. Game time's coming up soon. We got another comment here from Mark. Kayshon Boutte or Cooper Kupp, and is Kupp worth keeping?
Dibs. No, get Kupp out of your team. Just get him as far away as possible. Get the guy that's young. Like I said, second in receiving yards over the last 4 games with Drake May at quarterback, only behind Jamar Chase. That's all you need to know. And you know what Kupp's done over his last 4 games? I don't know if he even has 100 yards in those 4 games. So go get the guy that had 100 yards in week 1, played the most snaps out of New England Patriots receivers, and has a good long-term outlook with upside. Cooper Kupp, I can't say much of the same. You guys agree?
Yeah, 100% agree. I think Kupp he was one of the guys I was not touching this season, and I feel like it was just proved in week 1. Kupp, if you have him anywhere, I'd probably drop him.
Yeah, and Boutte got hurt and came back last week. So he's got a little bit of a tough guy mentality on him. And he's been dinged up. I've been resting him actually during the week and stuff, and he's actually cleared to play today. So I'd go Boutte and get rid of Kupp.
All right. And we'll jump into another comment here from Jacob. Pick 2 wide receivers, full PPR. He's got Garrett Wilson, DK Metcalf, Ricky Pearsall, Chris Olave, and Calvin Ridley. And then his quarterback, pick a quarterback, Justin Fields. Could stack it with Garrett Wilson or Joe Burrow. I'm starting Joe Burrow. You fire up Joe Burrow every time you have him. The 2 wide receivers I would go out there and start is Garrett Wilson, and I'm going DK Metcalf. Those are the guys that I would start out of this situation.
Am I in the wrong for thinking I should be starting Justin Fields over Joe Burrow, especially in season? I think in the beginning of the season, Joe Burrow I have higher right now in my rankings, but every time I get asked this question, I go back and forward in this one. I think Fields just has a safer floor to start the season compared to what Joe Burrow has proven over the course of his career. At least he's got a little bit of rushing upside. If he busts, it's probably around like 16 points versus Burrow last week. Really bad. Could have lost you your week. Yeah, could have lost you your week. So I go back and forth between them. It's obviously a great problem to have. Maybe Justin Fields just has that rushing upside that gives you that floor that makes you feel more comfortable to start the year. But I mean, long term, I still have Burrow ahead of him. As far as the wide receivers go, Wilson and DK are my two guys. I know I've been on the Ricky Pearsall train the entire day. Sorry if I'm bumping a little bit going up and down the car, but DK Metcalf I think is in for a nice little bounce back game as well. So I'm riding with Wilson and DK.
Danny,
Yeah, I'm going with Wilson and DK as well too. DK, it's a revenge game, so they're going to focus on him to try and get him the ball, so they can prove they getting rid of him that it was a mistake. And I'm going Burrow. I think they bounce back. I mean, the total's 48.5. I mean, that game just has shootout written all over it. And I love Fields as a season-long type guy, but I think I just go Burrow today just because of the matchup.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We'll jump into this comment here from Mark. Tight end dependent league. Need a backup for Tyler Warren at tight end. Does he drop Colston Loveland for Harold Fannin? This is a good question. What are you guys thinking?
I would say yes right now. It's just one of those things. You don't know what to really say on this part on early in the season. You hate to drop a rookie who has a potential to be a great player for you down the stretch, but Fannin's already producing, so I'd say go ahead and drop him, pick up Fannin.
Yeah, I'm leaning to agree with that, and usually I'm very much on the train of I don't really like to overreact to anything for at least the first 3, maybe 4 weeks into the season. I think 1 week is such a small sample size, but Harold Fannin, I think it's the trust that I saw that they had with Harold Fannin. I mean, he was out there for 77% of the snaps, and they had him lining up basically everywhere. He was in the slot. He was at fullback. He was at, inline block. He was everywhere. So I really think that the Browns believe they have something there in Fannin. And Loveland, there's just so many mouths to feed. We'll jump into the next one here from Mark. George Pickens, Tyrone Tracy, or DK Metcalf in a touchdown-dependent flex. I'm going DK. I mean, if you need a touchdown, I think DK's the guy. I mean, you're wearing the Steelers shirt, so let's just let you take it away, Danny.
Yeah, it's same thing, DK. It's the same thing I said earlier, too. It's kind of a revenge game against Seattle and stuff. But they look for him in key situations last week. I mean, I know Austin got the touchdown late in the game to help them to have a chance to win it. But it's still DK's the main guy in that offense. I mean, they didn't really show what they could do with him a little bit. I mean, they didn't target him as much as I thought they would. But he's the guy this week. I know Pickens is going to have some chances, but you still got CeeDee Lamb there, and just Tracy's he's just a guy.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We'll jump into the next one here from JTR here on YouTube. Pick one: Devontae Adams, Hollywood Brown, or Calvin Ridley to start this week. What are you thinking?
I'm going Hollywood Brown just upside just because of that game. I mean, Ridley's playing against the Rams. I mean, he's still the good guy that's getting the target shares there, but Ridley's playing against the Rams who shut down Nico Collins last week. And Devontae, I mean, they still focused on Puka last week. Devontae could have a bounce back week, but if I'd have to go situation with Xavier Worthy being out, I go with Hollywood Brown on that one.
Yeah. Ryan, were you back?
Dude, yeah,
Back to another town?
We're in and out of bubble areas that don't have populations, but they couldn't say the other word. But I'm going with Devontae Adams here. Adams, I think, is getting a little bit kind of disregarded as what he could be for Los Angeles. Puka, right, had a great week, 31% target share. You know where Devontae Adams was last week? 29%, right behind him. It's going to be a 1A, 1B situation. Devontae Adams is a high-end wide receiver, too, all season long. And he also had a 20-yard catch called back from a penalty. Like, it's Devontae Adams. He's a great player. He's still going to be very effective in this Rams system where it's our alpha receivers are going to dominate our target shares, and us fantasy football owners love it. And I'll say this, as far as Matthew Stafford's health, they ran a QB sneak on the 1-yard line with a guy that we were worried about his back. I think he's going to be just fine for this season if Sean McVay feels comfortable calling that in week 1. So, yeah, I'm going with Devontae Adams.
Yeah, I agree here with Ryan. I think Devontae Adams, he's one of my favorite like buy low candidates. Like if people are overreacting their league, if they have Devontae Adams, I mean it wasn't like the most disappointing game. He finished with nine points, but I mean 8 targets. Like you said, it's 1A, 1B in that offense. And
you know what's interesting, Steven, is if Zay Flowers had a massive week, why not go try to trade Zay Flowers for Devontae Adams right now? That would be an absolute great move that a lot of people I feel like can take advantage of.
Yeah. Those are the types of moves that, lead you to the playoffs and win championships. You can only do so much in the draft and the waiver wire. The in-season management is really crucial. We'll hop into the next one here from Charlie. Needs 2. So Kenneth Walker, Dylan Sampson, Rome Odunze, Cedric Tillman, or Jalen Warren. I'll let Danny. What are you thinking here?
I'm going Walker and Sampson on this one. I mean, Odunze, he got some targets last week. Tillman got targets, scored a touchdown. Jalen Warren was the one RB1 for the Steelers, but it's Walker and Sampson. Like we spoke earlier about Walker, he's the guy they had in the game when they needed to down the stretch and need to put the game away. Sampson, this is going to be game script for them. They're not expected to win that game, so there's probably going to be a lot of dump offs, and that's why he excelled in last week.
Yeah, absolutely. Ryan, what are you thinking here?
See, the thing is I like Dylan Sampson depending on the situation. I think it's still going to be the Ravens are a tough matchup, and I think his ceiling's pretty capped this week against them. I feel like a guy that just kind of got disregarded is Rome Odunze. Actually, really strong target share in week 1, and the Lions defense was not necessarily very impressive last week. So I'm going to ride with Rome and then Kenneth Walker, like we've already talked about on the show. I think should be an interesting day for the Bears offense. Let's see what we get.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go with Dylan Sampson and Rome Odunze here, so kind of split the difference there. Sampson, like I talked about, he's one of my favorite starts. Not necessarily the upside for maybe like an explosive game, but I think he's going to have a safe floor with all those targets. I think he's going to demand today and all those checkdowns. And then, like you said, Rome Odunze, this I think it will be the biggest game for the Bears this week. If they come out and look defeated and like just they're just the Bears, then I think you can chalk up the season. Maybe a bit of an overreaction there, but after last week, they need to come out and have a great game. So Odunze and
hey, Steven, you know what? I'm willing to bet the Bears look really good within the first 20 plays. Now let's see what they look like after the first 20 plays this time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 100%. Don't overreact to those opening drive scripts, which I love to do.
Yeah, no, who would post a clip on Instagram that overreacts after the Bears' first drive? I don't know who would do that.
No. Cade Klubnik to Heisman? Who would do that?
Hey, there's some stuff you got to do to, get a little bit more traction, Some headlines work better than others.
We'll jump into this one here from Jay on YouTube. Do you think Tyreek Hill can still get a 30% target share this week, and will Tua do something with it? I'm considering flexing Keenan Allen. I think Herbert will run Allen till his wheels fall off. What do you guys think?
I'll start because I watched the entire Dolphins game against the Indianapolis Colts in this one. Look, here's the deal with the Miami Dolphins offense is unlike they did in 2023 when this group was really good, they don't rely on the running game like they used to. They're just not getting themselves in positive, situations where they're ahead of the sticks. And the Miami Dolphins 10 to 15-yard intermediate passing game has been successful. Teams are running a lot of cover 3 against them, which is clogging up these holes. And Tua has not been good. He's struggling outside of finding his first read. Thankfully for Tyreek Hill, he's the first read a majority of the time. What I'm more concerned with Tyreek Hill instead of the target share or target numbers is the down the field and the separation numbers. There's a stat, he hasn't had a catch over 30 yards in a full calendar year. His yards per route run have gone down over the last year, even with Tua healthy. And the last thing is he ranked 45th in separation among receivers heading into the year. Those are all concerning stats, but we're also talking about a player that was a sure thing wide receiver 1 for at least 5 straight seasons. He's a wide receiver 2, boomer bust type candidate now. And I think a lot of people are going to get afraid of him because he's going to be a little bit more volatile than he has been in the past. But I think he's still a guy we got to have in our starting lineups, especially in PPR leagues. he's going to have that volume. He's going to have a spike week where it's 8 catches, 100 yards, and a touchdown. And he's also going to have weeks where it was last week, 4 catches, 40 yards. So it's kind of the new reality of Tyreek Hill that he's no longer this alpha wide receiver 1, but he's more of a volatile wide receiver 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Danny, what are your thoughts?
I still go with Hill with a little bit of upside light on going into this matchup against New England. They've kind of dominated this series they have. So the Dolphins should be going confident in this game because of the way they've dominated the series on that part of it. But with Keenan Allen, I mean, he come back, didn't miss a beat. Does he do it again 2 weeks in a row? Who knows? I mean, you got Johnston and you got Ladd there, so those guys can easily handle the load if they're not looking at Allen. So I'd still probably go with Hill because of the upside on that part of it. But Allen's a nice option to have.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll jump in here to the next one on YouTube. Should I start Devontae Adams, Emeka Egbuka, or Hollywood Brown? So I think if you can only start one, I think you ride Emeka Egbuka until the wheels fall off. I mean, what a debut! 2 touchdowns, the game winner. The only thing is you didn't get the target share that Devontae Adams or Hollywood Brown got, but I'm swinging for the upside here. Monday Night Miracle. I'm going with Emeka Egbuka.
I'll say this: if you guys get any sort of brain trauma or anything from me bumping up and down, I'm sorry, but just put the phone down when you're looking at me. I'll say this out of this group: I have Devontae slightly higher than Emeka Egbuka. Just a little bit. I think it's partly you mentioned it, the target share. I really like Emeka Egbuka, but like having this situation where you're debating between Adams and Emeka Egbuka, and then you have Hollywood Brown as well. Like you're in a really good spot with your team. I like the Rams matchup this week. Should be a nice game. And here's the thing: is like we didn't even see like a big time, performance from this Rams offense. They scored 14 points last week. Expect bigger things from them in terms of the point total, but. Like Steven mentioned, Emeka Egbuka is the truth. I absolutely love this guy. Had him as a must-start again for the 2nd straight week. And Chris Godwin is returning, and no one should be scared of Emeka Egbuka falling off when Chris Godwin returns. Like, he's the truth.
Absolutely, absolutely. Danny, who would you start here?
I agree with you guys. I'm going with Emeka. I mean, Devontae's going to get the shares and stuff like that, but might as well ride the hot hand while you can in fantasy. Just the way it is. And those – both having those 3 right there, you have a chance if all of them have a great week, then you need some help somewhere else in your lineup. You can trade one of them if you need to, but I go Egbuka this week. Just ride the hot hand.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll go to the next comment here from Alex. Who should he start at quarterback, Caleb Williams or Drake May? Ryan, what are you thinking here?
Drake May. Drake May is a must start for me this week, right outside of my top 12 quarterbacks. Caleb is not shortly after, and Caleb was very impressive in terms of his rushing ability. He looked actually fast, which was something I couldn't.
So fast.
Yeah, looked really fast. I think it's more the fact that Drake May gets a Dolphins defense and a lot of touchdown on every single play every single drive of Daniel Jones's last start. They had a minus 0.5 passing EPA. Pair that with Drake May's rushing upside. It's a plus matchup that I'm starting Drake May in.
I 100% agree. I think Drake May, just because of the Dolphins' defense, like you said, they let up points on every single drive by an offense led by Daniel Jones. And I'm firing up Drake May and any quarterback that plays the Dolphins until proven otherwise.
Yeah, I agree with that one too. There's not really much discussion on that part. It's Drake May.
We'll jump into the next one here. Omarion Hampton or Travis Etienne. This is a solid problem to have. What are you guys thinking?
Travis Etienne. Block him in. Cincinnati Bengals allowed so many points to running backs last week. Add in the fact they trade Tank Bigsby away. This is after Travis Etienne goes for 140 yards. Is a massive day. Etienne, can't believe I'm saying this. He's my RB12 this week. I would have never said that. It's crazy. I don't have words for it. Etienne's going to be in for a really good week, and this is nothing against Omarion Hampton. But the Chargers don't pass their running backs much. So especially in PPR formats, take a guy like Etienne that has that receiving upside, as well as probably a bigger workload with Najee Harris getting another week healthier and probably going to eat into it slightly because Hampton played 80% of snaps. I don't see that sustaining once Najee gets a little bit more involved.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'm leaning Etienne here. He's got the better matchup. And like you said, they're probably going to get about the same type of carries. They're probably both going to get, anywhere in that ballpark of 15 to 17, 18 carries. And if you get a better matchup, and Etienne, like I said, he's going to get the receiving work over Hampton as well. So I'm firing up Etienne everywhere. I hope it's not an overreaction. I love Etienne. Danny, what are you thinking?
Yeah, Hampton's not on the Chargers aren't on the main slate for DFS this week, but I'm going ETN, and he's probably going to be in half my lineup. So yeah, I see no reason why you can't start him, play him in any format. I mean, half PPR, full PPR, DFS, and not worry about him this week.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, boys, I got a question for you guys in my home league. So it's a 10-team PPR, full PPR. Team's loaded from all the help and content you can read here at Blitz Sports Media. So 2 flex. I'm debating on my last flex spot. So start one of these guys. You go Javonte Williams, Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, one of those 3.
Danny, you can start.
Devontae. I mean, just the fact that the target share he had last week, just going there. But I love Jacoby Myers. I like Geno this week against the Chargers because of the 20-yard passes they've been giving up and what they did last week with the passing game stuff. But I still have to go with Devontae. Just name right there, factor, and he's getting the volume. It just didn't have the stats last week to go with it.
Yeah, I'm leaning Devontae a little bit too. I think, I mean, it's a good problem to have, but I think that Devontae is slightly ahead of Jacoby. I think, and it really is tough because Jacoby with Brock Bowers out, like he should have a massive workload. It's tough, Steven. It really is, but I have Devontae slightly higher than Jacoby Myers this week for sure.
Yeah, right now I have Devontae in there, so we'll see if I change my mind before 1 o'clock. Hand up, I've changed it a few times this week, so we'll see.
And the bad thing about Myers and then play the 10 o'clock game tomorrow night, so you've kind of got to make a decision early enough that you can't. Yeah, okay. Am I going Myers or am I going Devontae? Then you probably have to go to Devontae because you can't wait that long.
Exactly right.
All right, well, week 2 start and sit advice video is officially completed. Appreciate all you guys that stopped in, got introduced to Blitz Sports Media for the first time today. We are doing this every single Sunday at 10:30 in the morning Eastern time. I know I'm a Central guy, but gotta help Steven and Danny out with their time. But we are hopping off here. We really appreciate you guys for tuning in today, and we will catch you guys next time on Blitz Sports Media.
See you guys.